Yo, last video we talked about what we have learned through San Jose State's first 2 weeks of playing. This video we're going to talk about what we should expect moving forward from the team. Let's look at the offensive side of the ball first. Walker Eget. I think you can expect 55% completion percentage per game. I look back at the Craig Stutzman offenses of the past. I don't think any of them were high in the 60s. I think all of them have been about in this 50-ish range, and you can expect some turnovers probably in there. I'd say a turnover a game for Walker, but I think he stays in that 55% completion percentage range, at least up from last year. It is 50. 2 touchdowns a game. I don't think that's crass to say. This offense is going to live and die by the passing game, and we'll talk about the running game a little bit more in just a sec, but you expect this team to live and die through the passing game. So 2 touchdowns sounds about right. 330-ish passing yards, at least north of 300 a game. I think you can expect that sort of line from the starting quarterback of this spread and shred offense. You look at the running game, and you can look at what's on the screen right now. I subtracted the UNLV game from last season and the crass weather that was going on there. Just an absolute tsunami almost. What's it called? Torrential storm? Whatever it was. So I subtracted that game from last year. You look at the 14 remaining games of the Nianma, Tololo, and Stutzman offense. The Spartans are 5-2 when they rush the ball more than 25 times. And they are 2-5 when they rush the ball less than 25 times. So there is some validity to saying you need to rush the ball. But with that being said, I don't know if this team has more than 10 scripted run plays. It's all RPO action for the most part, and if not, you are straight out of the gun, ready to throw it down the field. So I can't say we expect there to be more rushes, especially after last video. They rushed the ball more last season. I think I can't confidently say they won time possession. I remember the beginning of Sacramento State where they lost that time possession battle. I know they lost Central Michigan's time possession battle. So maybe if they start winning that time possession battle, it would be through the running game that they can establish. But I just haven't seen anything so far for us to say we expect more running the ball moving forward. At the running back position, though, I think it's about a 50-40-10 split. I think Floyd and Lamar are going to carry that 50 and 40 workload. The fumbles were something that happened, but this coaching staff has shown if you do turn the ball over like that at this position, you will get yanked because we have the depth, and that depth would be Jabari Bates. I think he's earned himself a drive a game to just go out there and be the lead back, take carries, catches out of the backfield, whatever they need. I think he's shown over these first 2 games the explosiveness with the kickoff return and the Texas drive that eventually led into points that he can be a guy that can be leaned on if you need him to be. Looking at the lead receiver for this team, it is obviously Danny Scudero. He's earned, I think, north of 30 targets. I think it's not crazy to expect all conference for him, all Mountain West. High expectations would be All-American. He said that he wants to repeat All-American. That would be double All-Americans for him coming from JUCO, then into the NCAA. So obviously high expectations there. But I think what can you expect for sure? I think all conference was a very safe expectation for him. Probably gonna like 90 receptions, something like that. It's looking like, I don't know if he can crack triple digits there. I don't know if he'll get to 1,000 yards either, but this is definitely the lead dog of the team. I don't know if he'll lead the team in touchdowns either, because that just doesn't look like his role. If there's a jump ball, maybe it goes to Leland Smith just because of the size, and he's more of a crafty guy in the slot and outside position of the field rather than that throw it up to him. But he's definitely the playmaker for the offense through what it looks like, and you can expect him to get the ball whenever they need a first down. Leland Smith looks like the guy to be the downfield target, hit or miss guy. He's going to finish the game with 4 receptions for 160 yards. He's going to finish a game with 1 reception for 20 yards. It looks like so far what we can expect from him. I think he has all conference in his range of possibilities. I don't think that's something you could necessarily expect for him right now. But he's definitely the guy that'll clear space or need that big shot to change momentum of a game. Showed it in Central Michigan. He could have turned the tide against Texas if the call had turned out differently with the helmet grab. But point being, he is going to be the guy you need a big play, throw it up to him, he's going to be your guy. Malachi Riley looks to be the wide receiver 3 for this team. You could probably expect 30, 40 receptions, 400 receiving yards, and if he's not fully healthy, Kyrie Scholes will step right in. I think he's second on the team in both targets and receptions right now. That'll probably be rotated a little bit more, but regardless, those will be the 2 guys alternating with Danny Scudero to get that slot and outside role moving forward. I think Matthew Coleman, maybe too high. of a prediction to say that he would lead the team in targets. But him and Tuli Tagovailoa Amaso will be rotating in and out of that slot position whenever one of those guys needs to come off of the field in 3 wide receiver sets. Coleman, I think, offers a little bit more downfield, and Amasoa so far has shown that he's just a little bit more of a flanker over the middle. But point being that those are going to be the guys moving forward. Cooper Hoach obviously still gets in his snaps on the outside, but we kind of know that Leland Smith's going to be one to take the top off. Danny Scudero will be the target guy, and then rotating in and out with him would be a Malachi Riley or a Kyrie Scholes. I think at least 2 of them end up. I think Scudero is a confirmed all-conference guy, but at least 2 of these, just like I think confirmed 2 of these guys are going to end up all-conference. It's just a matter of who's going to join Scudero and be that guy. Unfortunately, I think we do have to expect that this offensive line is going to allow, I'd say, at least 15 pressures a game. And I don't think that's hyperbolic. Even with the Texas game, they allowed a lot of pressures last season. I think the fewest they allowed was either 9 or 6, and that was against Oregon State, ironically. But point being, I think this team it's struggled without its starting left tackle in Malik Williams. It's struggled without Maris Talaval. And there's a lot of great pass rushing teams in the Mountain West. You got a New Mexico, Nevada, San Diego State. They'll play Stanford in week 5. Yeah, week 5. Had to calculate with the bye week. But point being, this is going to be a team that'll face a lot of great pass rushing teams, a lot of athletic guys, and they haven't proven to this point that they can give Walker Egan a lot of time in the pocket. So that's where the turnovers mostly happen for him. Obviously, the first drive of Central Michigan, that is all him. But for the most part, he's going to be needing a little bit more time, and I don't know if that offense is going to be able to give it to him. A very underrated part of this team is the penalties look to have been solved. Last season, 6, 8. At one point, I think there was 12 penalties. This season, only 4 and 3 to start the year. I think they only had less than 4 or less penalties twice all of last season. You already have both of your games to start this year. Penalties have been solved. So I think moving forward, penalties should not be a huge worry of Spartan fans. If a drive starts in a kickoff or a punt, the defense has you. There's no real worry about it. We'll show on the screen right now just how well the defense has done. If a drive starts in a kickoff or a punt, and what is that, barely double-digit points, they've really done their job. When you scratch my back, I scratch yours. They will be the unit of the team that guides them the furthest, I would imagine. They will be the steady rock that helps them out. The defenses look very good. Vili Taufatafua, I think he's the best pass rusher on the team for sure. He has the lone sack on the season, but even without that sack, he's been getting pretty consistent pressure in these first 2 games. It's been great to see that transfer has really worked out. I think you expect Jordan Pollard to become all-conference again. He's just a tackling machine. He will be, just off of that stat alone, I'd imagine a lot of the people voting for it would just see the tackles and give him all-conference, but that's not to underestimate the potential draft prospects of Jordan Pollard coming up this season. If he can produce in conference play, he will definitely be an eye on, someone to keep an eye on in the later rounds of the NFL draft, or somebody to be signed onto a practice squad for sure. Jalen Thomas, you expect him to be your cornerback 1 redshirt freshman. He's been that guy so far. You expect Caleb Presley. It looks like he's going to be battling with Jalen Banner for that cornerback 2 position. You don't want to expect anything, especially when there's a battle. You don't want to expect anything what will happen throughout the end of the season, but those 2 are going to be battling for the outside corner reps. I don't think we've seen either really play the slot. So far, it's been more of a safety thing for Isaiah Rivas or Jaw, but right now those 2 are going to be battling for the cornerback 2 position. And speaking of that safety role, I think Larry Turner Gooden's somebody who I wouldn't say you expect him to have the role by the end of the season, but he does look like you're going to have to rotate 3 safeties in. He doesn't take a lot of his snaps out of that slot position, which is where they like Jalen Applett-Williams or Isaiah Rivas. But I think he's too much of a force. Again, this is even without the turnover force in the game last year. He was coming in for Jalen Applett-Williams last year. He was coming in for Rocket Rahimi last year. He's a guy that he has the talent. It's going to be hard to keep him off of the field. You expect a lot more of Larry Turner Gooden for the rest of the year. You expect inconsistency at the kicker position. Not more really even needs to be delved into. They have not made a field goal this season, so you kind of know what you're expecting there. A turnover a game for the defense, top 5 last season in turnovers forced. I think there's no reason you don't get a turnover a game this year. We haven't seen a lot of balls being attacked in the air so far. Obviously, there's the interception with Jalen Applett-Williams, but that ball was left up in the air. It was a bad decision. The ball was left up in the air for forever. We haven't seen like a real play make, as to speak, so far, but it'll be interesting to see how this front 7 attacks a opposing quarterbacks and where the turnovers are made this season. I'm certainly expecting at least a turnover a game per year. I expect the rushing defense to be better. Now we can get into, there's a talent gap between Texas they kept showing on the screen. The offensive line is so much bigger for Texas than the San Jose State defensive line. And then Central Michigan just got out to a heater to start their season. I think the rushing defense will be a lot better. This front seven off of this bye week will figure out a lot of the problems that they've had so far to this season. But point being, I think that teams are going to throw. They're going to throw a lot against the San Jose State defense, and that'll be what kills them or what keeps them alive in games, is how well they can attack the passing defense. Because so far it looks like you can attack the rushing defense, but I think you know in your heart of hearts that that's not where the biggest problem lies for the defense.